And now we'll move to introduce our guests. Again, for those who've just joined us, there's food on the back table and drinks over here, and books for sale on the back table. And it's a particularly great pleasure to introduce our guests and bring them kind of out of a hibernation because they've been, well, they haven't had programming for a little bit, but they will now in February. So I'm going to introduce first to the mic Tania Martin, an art teacher, writer, and creative person born in New Zealand but speaking Californian. You gotta teach me how to do that. Who finds joy in writing and encouraging others to write. She is co-founder of Flash Fiction Forum, a bi-monthly reading series for short fiction in San Jose. For those of you who are not familiar, she has organized lit crawls in the South Bay Area, was an assistant editor for Narrative Magazine for many years, a writing contest judge for Red Wheelbarrow Magazine, and co-editor of Flash Fiction Forum Volume 1, an anthology of Flash Fiction 2022. I think that's on the back table over there. Her work has appeared in Catamaran, Literary Reader, Sejour, Answer Journal, and also Barbies That Never Were, 2019, a chapbook, and also Afterlife, Poems and Stories of the Dead by Purple Passion Press in 2015. You can find her on Substack and her website, tania-martin.com, and also taniamartin.substack.com. Please now welcome to the mic, Tania Martin.
Hey, this is different. Okay. Thank you so much, Works, for hosting us tonight, and Joe Miller and Robert Pesich and Well Read for inviting me tonight. It's a great honor, and I'm thrilled to be here with Lita Kurth, who's been a great mentor to me. So, yeah, I'm really psyched. Okay, so this first piece I'm going to read is a piece I just wrote. It's really new. It's called Byron's Cleaning Service. The apartments are always vacated, but never quite empty. Residuals of lived lives cling to the walls. I guess that's what makes the job interesting. The impressions left of furniture on the carpets, shadows of couches, and the negative spaces where the pile is still plush. Or the drains containing strands of hair matted into slimy salamanders, curly, straight, dark, or blonde. The kitchens tell stories, stove crud from fried foods, and the odor of decayed produce in the refrigerators or never used crisper bins. Sometimes cannabis and tobacco fumes have seeped into the curtains and walls. When you're a move-in, move-out cleaner, you'll get a picture, a dirty snapshot of the previous dwellers. I come equipped with an arsenal of supplies, but none of that caustic shit like lye, sodium hydroxide, and oven cleaner. No way, Jose. I use plant-based products. I scrub everything down, mop the floors, then lug the carpet cleaner up the stairs, and make the rugs look like neatly mown lawns. Once the apartment is technically clean, I survey the space for bad vibes. The toxic masculinity stains take the longest to remove. I've already registered any traces of blood in the door jambs, teeth in the drains, or kicked and punched holes in the sheetrock. Purifying the apartment takes stamina. I'm not just lighting candles and waving around some burning sage. Please. Burning sage is helpful, but it won't do the job. And Tibetan singing bowls are child's play. First, I'll prepare myself. I'll pull on fuzzy socks, wear pastel colors, put my hair in a man bun. My primary method is the reenactment of childbirth. I'll curl into a fetal position, rock back and forth on my bony landmarks. Then I'll sing Tupac's Dear Mama while I wiggle out of the birth canal. Afterwards, I'll kneel and give thanks to my mother. Also, I use sustained laughing as a tool. I'll stand before a mirror make a fist. Then I'll laugh at myself. Laughing is the most taxing of all. I'll need to laugh until all the anger in the room is gone. And just in case I've missed something, I'll have my dog, Princess, sniff the apartment out. Princess was rescued from a particularly aggressive home and will snarl at any lingering toxic energy. Lately, I've been getting requests to purify apartments that people still occupy. I've been helping with the aftermaths of drug and porn addiction, credit card debt, and conspiracy theorist bullshit. These are the snapshots that burn in my brain late at night. Soon I'll need to detox, and I'll take a trip to the hospital, and I'll beg some nurse to let me look through the nursery ward window at the babies. I'll need to remember that people don't start their lives out so angry and alienated. Some just need a deep clean to help them along the way. And this one is called, this is an older one, this one's called Hard Sell. We're here for the free breakfast buffet with ocean views, bottomless mimosas, and seafood platters. But first, we must submit to the 90-minute presentation from timeshare salesman Loki. We are sat in rows of futuristic chairs with swishing curves that leave gaps at the smalls of our backs. With shiny brochures in our laps, we are asked to imagine annual visits to this paradise, where the water stays above 80 degrees Fahrenheit all year round. Never mind that we have staggering mortgages and college loans. Loki tells us that we work hard and we should play hard too. We deserve this. We all nod in unison. Practiced in sales psychology, Loki distills fantasy dream lives with each probing question about our personal habits. Loki's green eyes, Rolex, bright white teeth contrive to hypnotize us. We find ourselves repeating the ends of his sentences like children in kindergarten. Some of us dig our nails into the palm of our hands to resist his charms. Renee and Sam from Toledo stand up to leave, and we hold our breath. Screw the breakfast. We could all stampede out of the room together, save ourselves from timeshare bondage. But Loki is quick, offering free Mexican blankets to those who stay for the entire presentation. The couple from Toledo sit down again. Then Loki explains how his financing package is a one-time deal we can't afford to pass up. Anxiety hits at our stomachs. Emily and Zach from Arizona are the first to succumb. Loki grins, puts his arm around Emily's shoulders, and gives her a squeeze. And we can't help but envy the special attention Loki bestows upon her. He promises drinks later tonight at the bar. Then Emily and Zach are corralled out of the room to complete their paperwork by Loki's assistant, who dazzles with Kardashian-like charms. The 90 minutes are nearly up, but we are still under Loki's power because our weakest links have divulged details about their finances. Loki smells blood in the water, and those cursed with a pleaser complex don't want to let Loki down. Then Allison from Albany, New York, confesses she's racked up $40,000 of credit card debt, and we envy her plausible excuse for exiting the room. Megan shoots up from her chair, exclaiming that she and her newlywed wife, Izzy, lost all their savings in a Bitcoin investment. Renee and Sam divulge that they only met last night on Tinder, but they'd still like to have the Mexican blanket. Loki's shoulders sag, and he runs his hand slowly through his thick, glossy hair and regards us woefully. Oh, how we hate to disappoint him. We feel bad he won't make his sales quota. We need to think outside the box, says Loki. He maintains that we can't let this opportunity pass us by. But the truth is that Allison from Albany has given us an exit strategy. If we just shame ourselves publicly, reveal our darkest secrets, we can lie belly up with our tails between our legs. We can leave the room with vouchers for the breakfast buffet with bottomless mimosas, and perhaps even the Mexican blankets. Thank you. This is a poem. It's called "The First Time I Had Sleep Paralysis." Sleep's spell is broken. A symphony of cicadas hold the hot night. I try to roll over, but my limbs won't move. I'm paralyzed, mute. Gray shadows play on the ceiling, shadows drawn from moonlight and the silhouette of a hawthorn tree. A weight rests on my chest like a large cat, but not my cat. And at first I think it's all a dream, but my breath, like a tide, in and out of my nose is too real. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. I attempt a psychic call to my parents in the next room. I call on my dead grandparents, Nana and Poppy, the ones I was close to. Save me. I am 16 and I've seen The Exorcist, heard of invisible fiends like an incubus, and I fight for control of my body. What if demonic possession is real? My sins circle like the stars of a concussed cartoon character. The time I shoplifted that ring, the times I cut school, the time I let my best friend down. I beg Jesus for forgiveness. I am in the eye of a storm, waiting, waiting. How long has it been? I am a wisp in my body, a thing within a thing. The universe holds me still, then lets me go. My eyes blink, and my raucous heart thumps with relief. I make the sign of the cross over my chest. And I thank my grandparents, beacons of hope, who are long gone, yet still shine on for me. It's kind of a weird one. And finally, I am going to read a short excerpt from my manuscript, a book I'm writing called The Longing. Liminal Dawn, the band that birthed a cult. Keith Bradley, Riff Magazine, August 2024. Liminal Dawn never intended their followers to become occultists. According to their manager, Sam Monk, the Norse ruin symbol on their first album cover was a tribute to the Dalmans' Scandinavian heritage. Later, when fans, Daga's folk, began interpreting occult undertones into their song lyrics, the band was mystified, insisting any connection to pagan rituals was pure coincidence. But when a rumor spread that Anders was, in fact, a druid, the band thought it was hilarious and decided to play up the stereotype. Annika Dahlman began wearing flowing robes on stage, her hair in long braids shaved around her ears, and that's how the maiden look started among female superfans. Flower wreaths, shaved and braided hair. That tattooing of Norse symbols followed later. Anders Dahlman took to spinning on stage like a whirling dervish, his long hair twisted into dreads. The spinning caught on and became a fan initiation ritual. However, the band maintains to this day that they were foremost serious musicians devoted to their craft and insists that the stage theatrics and presence were just part of the show. Olivia, Chapter 1. I don't regret Wyatt, but I wouldn't wish him on anyone else. If I were a moth drawn to his fire, I must admit it was always a dim flame. When I first met him, he was squatting in his mother's garage, where an oriental rug and tired Scandi furnishings were set up within a perimeter of claimed territory, surrounded by alarming towers of his family's junk. Within his fort of comforts, a coffee table cluttered with snack food, guitar picks, and drug paraphernalia, he pretended to be in control. But I saw all the red flags. I'd been reckless and impatient for my life to start. Don't feel sorry for me, is all I'm saying. I was 17 when April and I walked into the 7-Eleven at 2 in the morning because April's tongue had turned white. She was all wobbly, teeth chattering, looking like a limp celery stick in her shiny green leggings. She needed electrolytes. The store smelled of hot dogs, and the fluorescent lighting charged that warm June night with a staticky feel of electricity. I towed April along by her arm, and her platform Doc Martens tilted in at her ankles, and she fell, landing hard on her knees. She let out a wail. I scanned the store to see if anyone was watching us and caught two guys busting a gut in the snack aisle. The taller of the two, in vintage polyester, approached us. He had a pasty complexion, an upturned nose, curly shoulder-length hair, and a short beard that helped slim his round face. He had stopped laughing and looked genuinely concerned. "April, get up," I said. "Are you okay?" He reeked of weed. "No, I'm not okay," said April. "That hurt like fuck." Still holding on to one of her wrists, I hauled her off the ground. She pulled her crop top back in place and pushed her fake glasses up the bridge of her nose. "Hey, don't I know you?" the man asked April. She peered out over her heart-shaped glasses, and her slack mouth drew into a smile. "Oh yeah, it's Riot White," I heard her say. He wasn't my type and much older than us, so I left them to get reacquainted. I searched the refrigerator drink shelves where a blast of cool air hit my face, and I grabbed a liter of lime-flavored Gatorade. How did I end up in charge of April? Perhaps I was too used to caring for people, like how I'd been caring for Dad, cooking dinners, doing his laundry, since Mom had taken off. But honestly, none of our other friends had stepped up. Searching for April, I saw them all in the fish-eyed security mirror. They had moved to the front of the store near the cashier. Wyatt's friend had opened his bag of Doritos and was munching away. "This is Olivia," April said, "and this is Wyatt and Noah." The men grinned at me. I replied, "Hi," not paying too much attention to them, thinking they were just some random dudes, probably drug dealers. I was focused on hydrating April and getting her home and out of my hair, so I purchased the drink. April was chirping away, and I heard Wyatt mention that he and Noah were heading to Colorado on Monday to see Liminal Dawn at Red Rocks. I turned around to face him, wondering if this was the opportunity I'd hoped for, the chance to see Liminal Dawn in concert. Then I noticed his tattoo, the Daga's rune symbol on his neck that only serious Liminal Dawn fans got after experiencing the legendary awakening. He was the real deal. That summer before my senior year of high school, the band Liminal Dawn was on tour, and my friends were obsessed. Although we'd never been to a major concert, we all talked as if we were going. When Dan told me he had a 3-week business trip up to Fort Bragg in North Carolina, I begged him to let me stay with his cousin Beth, a graphic artist who lived nearby in Richmond Grove. Beth was younger than Dad, had no kids, and offered up her couch without knowing what she was getting into. While she presented as responsible, it transpired that Beth was a huge flake and let me do whatever I wanted. And to be honest, how was Dad to know that his daughter would disappear, leaving only a message on his voicemail, telling him to trust me, that I was on the road like Kerouac, discovering the world? I still can't believe he didn't hunt me down and have Wyatt arrested. But Mom up and left him without a word, and he hadn't bothered to look for her either. Outside the 7-Eleven, Olivia sipped Gatorade in the parking lot while I quizzed Wyatt and Noah about their trip to Colorado. "You want to ride to Red Rocks with us?" said Wyatt. My stomach dropped. I was on the precipice, about to step off a cliff, and I thought of the tarot card, the Fool, a youth at the beginning of a journey with only faith and luck to guide him. And I would always regret this experience if I didn't go. I confessed that I didn't have a ticket. I turned to April, thinking maybe she could make something happen. "Oh my God, Red Rocks, we should both go," I said. But I knew it was impossible. None of my friends' parents would agree to such a road trip, especially April's parents. And my dad would be dead against the idea, but I'd already imagined Beth covering for me. "Yeah, I wish," said April. "We'll get you tickets," Wyatt said. He smiled at me. Wyatt had invited us back to his place to listen to some live bootleg recordings he had made. But I wanted to get April home, so I swapped digits with Wyatt, and then April and I walked back to her house. April's parents' house was in Midtown, just 3 blocks from the convenience store. Old sycamores lined the sidewalks. Her tabby cat greeted us in the front yard, and we slipped down the driveway together. I quietly unlatched the back gate, and April let us inside with her key. We tiptoed to her bedroom, cat in tow. With her door shut, we collapsed on her large bed. I made April drink half the Gatorade, and I removed her boots while she made faces at me as if I was her mother. Should I go to Colorado with those guys? I whispered to April once we lay facing each other, our heads cocooned in downy pillows. But she closed her eyes and blindly batted my arm. You know I'd go if I could, she said, meaning my parents would kill me. April's tabby found space between us and began to purr. Her cat's purring was not unlike the low-frequency sound a bull roarer makes when winding down. I'd once seen a video of Anders Dolman whirling a bull roarer from atop a ladder during one of their shows. It was hypnotic, and listening to the purring helped me drift off to sleep. I dreamt I was at the concert, crushed against the stage, and Annika Dolman threw me a white Gerber daisy, but before I could reach it, the flower was trampled in the crowd. Thank you very much.
That's great. All right. Now to introduce our next guest, the other co-founder of Flash Fiction Forum, Lita Kurth, holds an MFA from Rainier Writers Workshop and has published in fiction, creative nonfiction, and poetry. She is the author of One Creative Writing Prompt a Day, a journal to build your craft from Callisto Press, and has received multiple Pushcart and Best of the Net nominations for fiction and creative nonfiction. She won the Diana Woods Memorial Award from Lunchticket. And along with Tania Martin, co-founding Flash Fiction Forum, she has presented at numerous working class studies conferences and been a featured reader for Peninsula Literary Society, Play on Words, Poetry Center San Jose here. When was that? That was for Small Press Fair, yeah? And also performed twice at Poets and Film for Cinequest. She has organized readings at Filoli, the Euphrat Gallery, and elsewhere, and taught creative writing at or to students aged 8 through 80, from jail residents to college students and published writers. She is co-president of Urban Sanctuary, and you can also find her on Substack. Please now welcome Lita Kurth.
Thank you, everyone. Well, and thanks again to Works and to Poetry Center San Jose, and to all of you here. Well, I must say that's a hard act to follow, Tania, but I'll do my best. I write a lot of absurd flash fiction, so here's one of them. The Mushroom Coffin. We were standing around the lilac bush looking at a chrysalis hanging from a branch when my husband said, I want a mushroom coffin, and I want it here in the backyard, right by the lilac bush. Oh my God, I told him, they're disgusting. I hope I go first. It'll stink. Not for long, he replied. It biodegrades in 45 days. So they claim. And what am I supposed to do with the skeleton? Hang it in a closet, of course, my husband said. He inhaled deeply on his vape pipe. But I don't want a coffin in the backyard. And could you smoke that somewhere else? He moved away. I kept looking at the chrysalis. Once it was a caterpillar with many tiny legs, stripes, and a gobbling mouth. What was it now? Ectoplasm? Soon it would have an entirely different body and wings. It would drink nectar instead of eating leaves. Would it remember its caterpillar self? Years passed, and one day, so did my husband. Just before he died, I asked, what will you come back as? You'll see, he whispered. I was so sad I did get the mushroom coffin. The mushroom bag arrived in the mail inside a big white cardboard box. Our 2 grown kids and I dressed my husband in his University of Michigan sweatshirt, nestled his favorite vape pen beside him, and zipped him into the bag. With some effort, we placed the bag in the white cardboard box and dragged it out to the lilac bush. I left for a 3-week retreat, a time I figured the stench would be at its worst. I didn't want to see the cardboard box, much less smell it. When I returned, the kids picked me up at the airport. How are things under the lilac bush? I asked. We nudged it, and it was sloshy. My son said, liquidy. Oh, God, I hope it's not oozing, I said, wondering if we could sue the mushroom people. Seems to be zipped up pretty tight, though, my daughter assured me. I think I'll wait more than 45 days, I said. I want that skeleton nice and clean. We planned to give it to De Anza College for anatomy and physiology classes. All those nervous students transforming into capable nurses and medical technicians. About a month later, when I went to bed, I could have sworn I heard bumping noises through the window. Oh, God, all I need is a bunch of raccoons tearing the bag open. I took a gabapentin and sunk into an uneasy sleep. The next morning, I took my coffee out to the yard. It was a beautiful day. Wasps and bees buzzed around the lilac bush. I glanced toward the coffin box and saw a movement, a bulge. I ran for my phone. Get over here, I told the kids. There's something inside the mushroom bag. If it was a raccoon or the neighbor's awful dog, I swear to God I was going to kill it. I stayed in the house until the kids got there. My son arrived with a shovel and my daughter with an axe. I held each of their hands as we ventured into the backyard. There, under the lilac, was the coffin box, ripped open and completely empty. Grave robbers? I said. I guess they took the vape pen. But how did they know it was there? Suddenly, a shadow fell over us. We heard a creak. We all 3 turned together. There, on top of the fence, sat a gigantic butterfly. His body was 6 feet long and wings as big as twin sheets. A magnificent tiger swallowtail. But instead of black and yellow, it was striped gold and navy. University of Michigan colors. Dad, the kids cried. The fantastic creature held something up to its proboscis. The vape pen. It inhaled merrily, paused a moment, without eye contact, without a recognizable mouth, and communicated to our hearts. Then it flexed its great wings and caught a breeze, up to the top of the giant sycamore in front of our house. A few branches creaked as it settled. We had to call De Anza and tell them the skeleton didn't turn out to be usable after all. And here comes another absurd one called Bed, Bath, and Beyonce. My husband, Sal, has always wanted to own his own store, be his own boss, experience the thrill of entrepreneurship. So far, he's only experienced the thrill of minimum wage jobs. But last week, he came to me with a pencil behind his ear and said, I have a name for my store. I kept on scrubbing the sink. Bed, Bath, and Beyonce, he said, and waited proudly for my reaction. I didn't want to be negative immediately. What would you sell? I asked. Beds, bathtubs, and Beyonce items, he said, in a tone that suggested, duh. That tone annoyed me. I dropped the dish rag in the sink and set free my criticisms. I foresee a couple problems, I said. For one thing, there's already a store called Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't think Beyonce lets people just use her name for free. She's a public figure. You can use a public name if it's satire. Maybe I'm being satirical. Is your store satire? I asked. Could be, for the right price. Sal moved his head in a circular way. I rolled my eyes up to the ceiling where a fluorescent light flickered and buzzed. Maybe you should sell fluorescent light bulbs, I said, and install them. Aw, don't be a wet blanket. Sal put his hands on my shoulders. Besides, I'm not naming it after the famous Beyonce. I'm naming it after that cute little Latina girl down the block, Beyonce Garcia. I'll ask her mom. She'll probably be thrilled to have a store named after her kid. Wonder of wonders. 3 months later, Sal opened up Bed Bath & Beyonce in the bakery section of an abandoned Walmart. He made up flyers, and they said in small print, not named after Beyonce. Oh, named after Beyonce Garcia, not the famous Beyonce. Just to be safe, I went behind his back and sent a letter to Beyonce Knowles asking for permission just this once. It wouldn't be for long. Everyone in town came to the grand opening, even the mayor. Beyonce Garcia's mom invited everybody on the city council. She also brought her daughter, and after school, she would sign T-shirts, beds, bathtubs, and cookies with her picture on them. The first weeks went amazingly well. Then we got the cease and desist order from Beyonce. And a few days after that, another one from Bed Bath & Beyond. Ignore it, Sal scoffed. They're just trying to cash in on our success. Long story short, the cops showed up, turned Sal around, and put the cuffs on. No worries, Sal said over his shoulder. While I'm in the tank, I'll do market research. I didn't ask if he was crazy. I already knew the answer. While I'm gone, take the business online, Sal yelled as they hustled him into the cop car. On the dark web, he whispered. Now I had to work my regular job and also run Bed Bath & Beyonce online in amongst the murder for hire and snuff porn. Sal wrote me from prison outlining his expanded business plan, although some of it was redacted. He'd seen the light. No more dark web for him. No more piggybacking on copyrighted names. His new store would sell pillows, fishing gear, and candy. He was hoping Steph Curry might endorse it. Happy to be done with the Bitcoin-paying thugs on the dark web, I worked with Beyonce Garcia's mom on a pillow shaped like a fish with a hole in the middle where you could put candy bars. At first, we sold them out of car trunks and parking lots. Later, we repurposed a food truck. By the time Sal got out of prison, we were in the Walmart bakery again. I led him through the door. Here it is, pillows, fish, and candy, I told him, and it's going to stay that way. He just whistled and taped up a poster of Steph Curry. This next piece is an ekphrastic piece. I don't know how many of you have heard of the painter Henry Darger, but he was an outsider artist. He was a janitor at a hospital. And it was only after he moved to a nursing home that his landlord found this amazing trove of paintings and drawings and writings. And one of his key figures were what he called the Vivian sisters. And they were in a war. They were these little girls in a war with this other group that he made up. So this piece is after the battle scene from the story of the Vivian girls. It's called 9 Ways to React to a Bombing. 1. Wrap yourself in coat, scarf, belt, and stylish tam. Place your hand not over your heart, but your right lapel. Gaze into the distance. Stand. Crucify with a stare. Point. Hold your knuckles to your forehead. God, what a headache. With a hand open by your mouth, call. Reach out for the clouds of dirt exploding upward. Throw up your hands. Sink to the earth. Sorry, I've forgotten to say the numbers. 6. Your mouth falls open. It's the rapture. Your 2 arms measure the immensity. Sit with crossed legs, awed. 7. Run like hell, spilling over a pail, hair straight out behind you. 8. Leap, dig open the grass, claw a hole, lie prone, hugging the earth. 9. No, there are only 8 ways. And next, I'll read a historical flash called The Revolutionary's Brother, which was published in flashback fiction. See if you can guess who this is based on. Oh, Sasha, Sasha, your black hair. When they came to the back door and whispered that your protest hung from a noose in the center of the city, I said nothing and did not move. I was a cold stone with an earthquake inside. To the gallows we went, heads up, and carried home your body labeled traitor. Mother washed and dressed you in your wool suit and vest, surrounded you with flowers, and mourned behind drawn curtains. Mourned without the funeral wreath on our front door. Friends stayed away. Mother, the winter is cold. Will there be fire tonight? I searched for embers among the angry. Trailing sparks behind me, I fled to Paris, city of luminescence, love, and philosophy, where blossoms hung on trees, then fell apart. The ground was white, my paper was white. I scribbled secret pamphlets to distribute. With amethyst eyes, I rated the comrades. This one, trustworthy. That one, weak. This one, a traitor. Fire tonight. A cold, hard train brought me home. Heading east across Europe, devouring coal, the engine shrieked to an iron land. It threw off cinders that sizzled red on the snow, then turned black and ghostly gray. Ragged kids waited by the tracks and scrambled to gather up the cinders. Mother, there will be fire tonight. Ice gathered on my goatee. 40 below zero meant nothing. Rifles, rags, bottles, and gasoline. We assembled provisions as if for a party. First, we tipped the bottles up and drank them empty. Vodka, clear like water, but hot, not cold. Swaying, we set the bottles in the snowbank. For now. Explosive new wine will shatter old bottles. I'll cover every window in black, put the city on its knees. Mother, goodbye. Tonight there will be fire, and every night, fire. Anybody guess? Lenin. Yeah. But I'd like to leave you with a flash that's more hopeful. It's a flash about hope and peace called Birdsong. Someone began to sing to herself, a note here and there, a song of soft orchard blossoms. The trees, too, had a lot to say and a lengthy breath. Their leaves formed a choir, a cappella and polyrhythmic. The wind hummed and played along, a 12-bar chord for any descant. Gates groaned as they opened and closed. They didn't like to work, but sang as best they could. A dog gave a solo, insisting on his point over and over. Gradually, singing floated from houses in all directions, from apartments, from pieces of cardboard on the sidewalk. A sound of self-encouragement, connection. Men handed tools to one another with light words, limber comments, bass and tenor. A message must be repeated by sparrows multiple times before we get it. Thank you, everybody.
Tania and Lita, thank you so much. And to those folks out in Zoomlandia, I see there's the Tania fan club and the Lita Kurth fan club. They'll be signing stuff for you if you want. All right. Thank you so much again. And next month, join us when we will be featuring McTate Stroman II. All right. And go safe, go sound into the night. Thank you, Joe. And thank you, Works.
All right. So next month, I just want to remind you too that that February 11 is well read, and then February 12 we get Lita and Tania again hosting Flash Fiction Forum for their return to 2025. So tune in person, I hope then, and we'll see what we can do. Thanks for bearing with us tonight on some technical things, but we invested a little bit to be able to be here in the gallery. Our prices went up a little bit for other rooms, but also we just thought like it's clear in here, and it would be great to come together in this little bit larger space. And so we got a mixer over here. We got a new camera. Those like arrived yesterday. And the mixer arrived day before yesterday with all of the cords that you see, like there's a million cords over here. Those all arrived like about 9 o'clock last night at my home. So thanks for going in. We did figure out what happened with it was the gain on Zoom, actually, because Zoom had updated just before today. And so the gain on that was what was blasting out of here. Otherwise, everybody up there in Zoom would have been blasting out of this thing at us as well. So I found the gain, fortunately, in the middle of the show here, so that people weren't fucking screaming at us. So thanks for hanging in there. We've still got a lot of refreshments and that sort of thing. So hang out for a bit and say hi. On Zoom, thanks for joining us, and if you'd like to hang out and have a drink with us too, you can do that. So if you'd like, our little bar donation box, which we don't take too seriously in these events, actually disappeared at the last event. I don't know what the fuck, but what the hell. So, I don't know. It might have been misplaced. Let's just say it might have been misplaced. It had a giant works on it. It was like this big around and that tall and that, but it vanished. I don't know. A volunteer might have just like stuck it in a place where we just can't find it. I don't know, but we do